we have learned triads already. We have gone through 4 different types of triads, and I'm just going to quickly do one example so that you are, fully reviewed in your mind about where this concept comes from. So you have triads that I've always taught using the major scale. Find the notes of a triad. So we're going to use the key of F major, and F major has a B flat in it, so let's keep that in mind. So if I just quickly write out the letters to the F major scale, we have this. And now we are going to write the triad, just in letter names here. Oh, if I were to number the scale notes here, that's helpful. And so the major triad, the major chord, is found by using this F major scale, and it says to use the 1, the 3, and the 5 notes. So the 1 is F, the 3 is A, and the 5 is C. To get the minor chord, F minor chord, we say F. We're going to use the same 3 notes, but this time we lower that A. Well, it's A natural, so we're going to lower it to A flat. Then we're going to use the same 3 notes, F, A, C, but to make this diminished chord, we lower that A to a flat, and we lower the 5th note to a flat as well, because we're lowering from the C natural to a C flat. And last but not least, the augmented chord, we learned here by raising that 5th note. So the first 2 are the same as the major chord, but now we raise it by bringing a C natural up to a C sharp. So those are the 4 triads that you learned. But today we're going to learn 4 new chords, and they are called 7th chords. Now the thing is with 7th chords is that we're actually adding a 4th note. So it's no longer a triad, because a triad has 3 notes, right? Triad. Add, I don't know what that actually means, but tri means 3. And so these chords, we add a 4th note. So if I were to just we're going to use F major still. So I'm going to quickly write out the notes of the scale here on the staff. And we will quickly number these notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's even just name the notes above so we have the whole legend. Great. So we have our triad here, right? The F, A, C, the 1, 3, and the 5 note. To form what you call a 7th chord, you're adding a 4th note. Well, how do we do that? Well, if let's highlight here. If the triad was 1, 3, 5, the 7th means we're adding, guess what? The 7th note, and that's our 4th note. So it's always skipping a note in between, right? So now, if I, wrong tool. Okay, so if I were to write a treble clef here, we're going to write the triad, F, A, C, and then we're going to add the 4th note. And that's what we call an F major 7 chord. Great. So, but there's 4 different types of 7ths, and therefore it has something to do with taking the triad. Remember we went through this again, how you could change triad notes. If you combine changing the first triad, and then if you also change the 7th, you can get different combinations of notes, meaning lowering the 3rd note, lowering the 5th note, or lowering the 7th note, and so on. So that's what we're going to do right now, and it looks like this. So when we have a major 7th chord, we use, just like I showed you now, the 1, 3, 5, and the 7 note, without changing them, just based on the major scale. But as soon as you start changing some of the notes, then we have different type of chords. So the first one is a major 7th. Okay, so a lot of times you'll see that kind of thing beside, like if we use F, for example, it would be like F major 7. But then there's something called an F7 chord, and that's where you lower that top 7th note. Or the minor 7th, which is taking a minor triad, because remember the minor triad, you lower the 3rd. Well, now you also lower the 7th. So this can be labeled like this, F minor 7. Sometimes you'll see this. And then the last one is what you call diminished 7th. So we take the 3rd, you lower it, you lower the fifth. That was like our old diminished chord. But then you're going to doubly lower the 7. Now, it doesn't mean that it's going to be a double flat like that. It could still be something a little bit different, but it means you lower it 2 semitones. Okay, so now you would see like F diminished 7. You might see something like this. And those are the 4 different types of 7th chords. So let's try that over here. Okay, so we're going to do 2 different keys. So the first one here is C major. C major, of course, I'm just going to write out the scale up here. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Number the notes. Oops. And C major is nice because there's no sharps or flats, so every note is a natural note. Now, C. So the C major triad would be C, E, and F, right? The 1 and the 3 and the 5 note. Sorry, C, E, and G, not F. I misspoke. So C, E, G. Next, the major 7th. So we still use the same triad, that major triad. And now we're going to add that 4th note, which happens to be a B. And that's our C major 7th chord. Our C7 chord, if we go back to the little legend down here, sorry for all the traveling, the C7 is lowering that 7th note. So let's go back here. Let's write the same thing as the C major 7. And to get what you call just a C7 is lowering that top note, that 7th, by 1 semitone. Well, it was a B natural, so we lower it to a B flat. Next, let's travel again a little bit down here. The C minor. So the C minor is lowering the 3rd note and lowering the 7th note. Okay, so let's go over here. I'm going to write. Start with the major 7th. We lower the 3rd. So E becomes E flat, and we lower the B to a B flat. And the diminished. I'll write the major 7th down here so we have something to go with. And then to get the diminished, of course, it's on that legend that we wrote, but I'll just remind you that you lower the 3rd, you lower the 5th, and you doubly lower the 7th. So let's look at what that looks like here. You lower the 3rd to a flat, lower the 5th to a flat. To doubly lower this B natural, we lower it to a flat, but then that flat gets lowered again to a double flat. So this whole collection of chords is all correct now. Let's try one more. B flat major 7th chords. So I'll write the B flat major scale down here. We'll number these. Great. So I'm going to write out the notes. I'm going to start with the B flat down here. So that's our B flat major triad, right? The 1, the 3, and the 5. But now we're going to continue with writing the 7ths. So our B flat major 7 triad chord is using a major triad and add the 7th on top. Well, the 7th is just an A natural. We know that because we wrote out the 7th right here, the scale, so there it is. B flat 7 is a major triad, the 7th, and then the B flat 7 will be to lower that 7th note. A B flat minor, that means in a minor, let's write this out. In a minor, we lower the 3rd, and we're also going to lower the 7th. So here's the B flat major triad. We lower that 3rd, and when we take that 7th, and also lower that. Okay, we're always basing this on this major scale and changing the notes as we need to. Last but not least, for the B flat diminished chord, we have to lower the 3rd, the 5th, and doubly lower that 7th. So here's our B flat major triad. We have to lower the 3rd and the 5th, and then we take the A and doubly lower it, A to A flat and A double flat. And there we have our collection of B flat 7th type chords. I hope this was easy to follow. And what we'll do is we will probably give you another kind of set of exercises that you can do to help you learn this. But I will also have this posted in your notes so that you have that to go by.